There will be spoilers ahead. Lots of spoilers, so be careful, won't you?
Oh boy, what a night. Mike, don't expect too much from me from this episode. I know we're focusing on Scarlett Johansson in this series, but right now I am having trouble focusing on anything more than 6 inches away. Man, you can never let me go to another bachelorette party. I mean it. All that shrieking and yelling. Who are you? What are you doing here? Does anyone know that guy? Someone call the cops. And the pepper spray. So much pepper spray. So how was your weekend?
Yeah.
So, yes, we're discussing more of the Johansson oeuvre this week with a bit of a change of pace.
Oh, yeah.
2017's Rough Night. This is a raunchy comedy more in the vein of The Hangover or Bridesmaids or Weekend at Bernie's as opposed to, The Avengers or Marriage Problems.
Hangover-ette.
Yeah. How does Miss Scarlett navigate these debauched waters? We'll never tell. Okay, yes, we will, but only because you begged us. I'm your host, the blushing bride-to-be, Max Levine, and over there is my maid of dishonor, Mike Luce.
Yeah, Max Levine party favor is, I think, what you meant to say.
That's right.
Too. Yeah, so we do, of course, have our poll question we'd like to
We do.
Poll question.
What is a movie you have always felt you should watch for stuff and reasons, but you've just never been able to get yourself to do it, and why? Harriet Roberts says, well, this is a little off, but not a movie, but The Sopranos is a series I feel I should have watched. I just can't get beyond the violence. Okay.
Totally understandable. Same here.
Yeah. David Mackman, Dave, tells us Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan's.
Ryan's?
Ryan's. There are several Ryans in it. 2 movies I don't think I would enjoy. I mean, save a spotted owl. Save some.
Why would you want to save Matt Damon?
Yeah, no, I don't know about yeah, those are not movies you enjoy. They're movies you're not just supposed to see, you're supposed to like.
Yeah.
Dr. Professor Rebecca Belke says, for me, it's mostly old classic Hollywood films that are lauded as the greatest, but don't really interest me.
Yeah.
But since I now teach film, oh dear, I feel I should have seen them. Like Apocalypse Now, oh yeah.
Seen it.
The Godfather.
Seen it.
Nosferatu.
Seen it.
Yeah. Are 3 that come to mind right now. Richard Tatum says Gone with the Wind.
Yep.
Yeah, that's an effort, that one.
He had a great response. I said, by now you probably already know the ending. And he said, I don't. And honestly, I don't give a damn.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Valerie Coons, who my careful research has shown has some strange, mysterious
She's my sister.
Fine. Well, that was $20,000 well spent.
You met her before. Well, you didn't meet her before I did, but she met
No,
you before she met me.
I met her before you, yeah. We have another one. She says Schindler's List was the first one that came to mind. I've never seen most of the movies that were huge in the 80s. Some I figure I should get around to someday, if just so I understand the references. Films like Flashdance and The Big Chill. And I'd like to delve into films that are made by or feature minorities.
Yeah, she needs to see Earth Girls Are Easy. That's top of the list.
Oh, yeah. That's a big 80s. No, it's true, though. Flashdance and The Big Chill, those are kind of cultural touchstones of the 80s.
I haven't seen either one of them.
I've seen Flashdance once and Big Chill multiple times.
I don't think Flashdance is a must-see.
Not really, but you kind of... Yeah, you get where it is, because so many people, parody it or make fun of it. Yeah.
And I am tickled by the idea that Flashdance and Schindler's List are somehow on the same list of anything.
Yep,
he's a hard-down Jew in a Saturday night.
Oh, God. Stop right there.
Steeltown Jew. Sorry about that.
Steeltown Jew, yeah. I think we've got that could be like a mini-series on Netflix, Steeltown Jew.
Sorry, please go ahead.
Yes. Geneva Brunetti says, I'm ashamed to write this quote out loud on the internet. We get what you mean. But The Godfather. Ooh. It's a given considering I have a film degree, worked at a movie rental place, and am Italian, and apparently mimics some of my old family dynamics, according to my aunt.
Oh,
what,
dear.
Did someone shoot your brother in a boat while fishing?
Did you find horse heads in your cereal?
Your cereal.
Puppy, no! I get it, right? I'm sorry. I was going to say I get it, right? Because I only watched it because of a series we did. So, and that was what, last year? So
yeah.
I get it.
That is a tough one. It takes some dedication. It's worth it, though. From the Great White Hoser to the North, Vince says, Wild at Heart, the David Lynch film. I even had a copy for years and never was in the mood to watch it. I think I am just sick of that period of Lynch films. Too violent, and the stilted dialogue just put me off. I would be really in the mood. I would have to be really in the mood, and I just never am.
Yeah,
I get that. I never watched Wild at Heart, even though Dave bugged me about it literally for, I think, 20 years. Until we finally made an agreement that he would watch The Man with Two Brains, Steve Martin, if I watched Wild at Heart, and we did.
And who won?
It's still kind of a toss-up.
Yeah, see, my period of David Lynch films that I'm not really interested in starts with Eraserhead and ends with Twin Peaks. So anything in between those two films, I'm not really interested in watching.
There's quite a bunch of them there.
I'd say all of them.
Our cheese boy himself, Ned, says, I know I'm supposed to enjoy Hot Fuzz, but for whatever reason, I've never found Simon Pegg funny, and so I haven't even tried the movie. Go figure. Oh, it's kind of too bad, but I get it.
Yeah,
I like Simon Pegg. I think the Cornetto films are fun, but if Simon Pegg doesn't work for you, the movies will not.
Yeah.
They just won't. He and Nick Frost are pretty much the backbone of those movies, and if they don't work, they don't work.
He and Nick Frost are adorable.
They are so cute.
What a romance,
really
right? Because
absolutely.
Yeah.
From Dr. Lauren, from out in the Southwest.
Wait, how did we hear from her?
She is the only one who actually emailed at us at maxmikemovies.com and is, as such, getting a truckload of chocolate-covered Bumpy Bucks delivered right to her door.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yep. And here we have another. I have never watched Gone with the Wind. I quoted it on occasion when I was routinely attending deliveries as a physician for the soon-to-be newborn. I sometimes arrived before the obstetrician, and the nurses, but you know what she's about to talk about, would tease me about having to deliver the baby, to which I would reply, I don't know nothing about birth and no babies, in the lamest Southern accent ever. Good for you. My excuse for not seeing the movie was always that I would rather read the book, but I've never done that either. Mostly because it seemed way too long to be worthwhile. Well,
that or the sequel.
Right. I'd like to claim that it was because I was an early objector to the glorification of plantation society. However, my willingness to, quote, an unfortunately stereotyped character belies any such claim. So I'll just stick to my original reason. It's too long, and I've already heard most of the good quotes. That is perfectly fair. And thank you very much for emailing us, Dr. Lauren. You are an example to everyone else.
And by the way, ding, 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 ding,
yep.
ding.
Yep.
I just like to say ding, 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 ding.
Thank you all for those very intriguing answers.
Yeah.
Mike, what about you? What's a movie you keep that you always figure you should see, but you just can't get yourself to, and why?
Schindler's List. I mean, it's... The thing I have heard about it, though, is besides the fact that it is depressing and it's an important subject, it is kind of Hollywoodized, which, Steven Spielberg, so I understand that.
A bit.
I don't really...
It's very well done.
Yeah, I mean, Saving Private Ryan, again, you're supposed to not only see it, you're supposed to like it. I'm not big on war movies anyway, and mostly, it's one of those films that was so big that you were supposed to see it, and I was just like, People keep wanting me to watch Quentin Tarantino films, and I won't.
You've seen several.
I know, and half of them were by accident.
I fell into this Quentin Tarantino movie.
Pretty much. I'd be at a friend's house. It's like, hey, do you want to watch this film? It's called Reservoir Dogs. Oh, yeah, well, sure. What's it about? Oh, it's about gangsters and stuff. Oh, yeah, whatever. Oh, my God, no! And then next time I was over the same people's house, it's like, hey, you want to watch Jackie Brown? What's that about? Oh, it's a really good film. Oh, okay. Oh, it's that guy again. God damn it. Son of a bitch. And then I did end up watching Kill Bill 1 and 2 because my partner wanted to go see it. And there were parts of Kill Bill, of the ones I've seen of his, that's probably my favorite, which is very small F favorite.
Yeah, but you also saw Pulp Fiction, and
Finally.
I believe, didn't you see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Nope.
Oh, I thought you did.
Nope.
Okay.
No interest. It's Tarantino. It has feet in it, and and horrible
Mike
violence.
does not watch movies with anybody who has feet.
That's right. We have feet in my movies.
They have to all be cut off at the knees. Yep.
Yeah, and obviously Godfather, I waited until I had to, and I'm pleasantly surprised. It is a very good movie. And Godfather 2, amazingly, I didn't like as much as 1, but that's, you know. How about you, Max? What films have you been like, oh, I should watch that. If I'm really a cinephile, I should watch.
There's a bunch. The big one, I would have to say, is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh, I've seen it.
It looks too painful. It looks too difficult to watch.
Have you read the book?
No.
See,
I have not.
I saw it because I had a film class, which was novel into film. Bad idea. And that one especially, you know, very lauded film, Academy Award winning, whatever. If you read the book literally right before you saw the film, you just sit through the film laughing because it's like, why did you do this? Why did you left this whole thing out? The perspective's all wrong.
But that movie, it's so damn significant. It is one of three movies that won all of the big four. Yeah. Best Picture, Director, Actor, and Actress. There have only been 3, and that's one of them. I've seen the other 2, which are It Happened One Night and Silence of the Lambs.
I just find it interesting that I've seen it and you haven't. But
yeah.
Usually it's the other way around. What else?
Yeah, that's amazing. I've never seen Dr. Zhivago. I keep meaning to. I feel like I should see that.
It just looks like people say they don't want to see Gone with the Wind because it's too long. That looks longer. I don't know if it is.
I'm not sure.
It looks longer.
Yeah. I mean, there are a bunch of others. Those are the two big ones.
Yeah. Well, that would lead us to the fact that there would be a new poll question.
There is.
I can't wait to hear what it is.
This one is a little more personal.
Ooh.
Who would you choose to play you in your own biopic?
Oh, boy.
Has to be an actor, any actor, living or dead, at any point in their career.
Bob Denver.
Yeah, that works.
That's a great question.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see the answers to that one.
Yeah.
Casting. So bring out your couches and call in your actors and let us know in ways that we'll tell you at the end of the show.
Me, it's obvious. Rondo Hatton.
Really,
look him up.
That's mean, but okay. To Max. But otherwise, we have a rough
trivia
night ahead of us.
Yes, we do.
The facts.
First off, we're going to start with some trivia about Ms. Johansson again. Currently, she is married to Saturday Night Live's Colin Jost because she clearly lost a bet, with whom she has a son.
Oh.
She was married to Romain Dauriac, who is famous for being French, with whom she has a daughter.
I surrender.
Yeah.
Sorry, French people.
Yeah. She has a Looney Tunes character named after her. There was a 2011 show called The Looney Tunes Show, and they had a character named Scarlett Johansson.
I see.
Real imaginative there, fellas.
Yeah. Never would have guessed.
She's also released 2 albums.
Oh.
Yeah. In 2008, she released Anywhere I Lay My Head, which was a collection of Tom Waits covers.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Scarlett Johansson has what they call a smoky voice. Tom Waits has a burning asphalt covered in gasoline voice. So
the piano has been drinking. The piano has been drinking.
Organ grinder cries.
No, see, you're doing Tom Waits. I'm doing Scarlett Johansson doing Tom
No, you're
Waits.
really not. This was released. It was kind of mixed to average reviews. I think the nicest one said, well, she can sing, but okay.
Yeah.
Then she did another one called Breakup, which was a collaboration with someone named Peter Yorn. That one did a little better. And finally, and I think this was a shame she did not do this on any of the albums, she plays the kazoo.
Technically, doesn't everyone?
Well, yes, but I assume this means she's been classically trained in the kazoo.
Scarlett Johansson, classic kazoo player. Yeah, okay, cool. Thanks for that trivia. But what about, I bet there's
movie.
tons and tons of Rough Night
There
trivia.
is almost nothing.
I see.
Nothing. Most of it is, hey, these two actors were in the same movie before, and this actor was in this movie with this other actor. But there were a couple. The budget for this, about $20 million, most of which I assume was her salary. Worldwide gross, $47 million.
So a huge success.
Not a disaster, but not a success.
It's a disaster. I actually looked a little bit, because you said that there wasn't much trivia. I found out that they spent, believe it or not, $35 million on promotion alone.
Oh, dear. Yeah, so this was a disaster. Okay.
Yeah, sure. This gets out, but no Batgirl for us. I'm sorry, Batgirl, yes, but no Batgirl for us.
Yeah, no Batgirl for us.
Because what's $70 million?
The film was originally entitled Rock That Body.
Yeah.
Then they renamed it Rough Night. Filming was done in Long Beach, California in October 2016 when the pier restaurants and the bars of Hermosa Beach were used as stand-ins for Miami nightlife. Because why would you go to Miami if you didn't have to?
Well, you know where the parts that weren't beaches, I actually looked this up. Do you know where the rest of the film was shot?
Nope.
Mount Vernon, New York, because nothing says Miami like Mount Vernon, New York.
Sure, why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
This is just an odd thing where Scarlett Johansson, Jillian Bell, who plays Alice, Kate McKinnon, who plays Pippa, and Eric Andre, who plays one of Peter's friends, were all born the same year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And at one point, Pippa, or a.k.a. Kiwi, Kate McKinnon's character, makes a remark when they're trying to figure out what to do with the body of the dead stripper, suggests cooking him because it was done in Australia. This is true. A guy named Marcus Volk, a chef, murdered his transgender girlfriend in a Brisbane apartment in 2014 in a, shall we say, poorly conceived plan to conceal her body. He tried to boil her dismembered remains in cooking pots. Didn't work. He committed suicide before he was brought to trial.
Yuck.
Yeah. Ew. And in the mid-credit scene, when we see Jess at her political victory, it's not an. Did she look familiar? The way she was dressed, the way her hair was done.
She looked like that when we suddenly see, for whatever reason, that Black Widow has utterly changed her hair.
No. She's done up to look like Hillary Clinton.
Oh.
Yeah, that wasn't an accident. That's pretty much it.
Oh.
Yeah. There's not, yeah.
Well.
So we get to the plot.
Well, at least there's a good story. So tell us a good story, Max.
You know, it's the same old story. A bunch of friends get together for a bachelorette party, do a ton of blow, hire a stripper who they accidentally kill. Man, if I had a nickel. Jess, Alice, Blair, and Frankie are old friends from college. Alice, perhaps obsessively so. Jess is running for state senate and is about to marry Peter, a man who exists. Alice has taken this opportunity to put together an over-the-top bachelorette weekend, hoping to recapture the wild days of their college friendship, something she's never been able to let go of. Jess's Australian friend Pippa, played by Kate McKinnon, joins them. A stripper gets killed. Zoe Kravitz gets intimate with Demi Moore. Stolen diamonds are involved. Peter goes full sad astronaut when he thinks Jess has broken up with him and ends up driving a car through a wall. You know, same old story.
The film.
There's some amazing talent in this film. Sadly, all of it's in front of the camera and none of it is behind the camera.
Nor was any of it working on the word processors creating the script.
Yeah. So we have Zoe Kravitz, who is
Zoe Kravitz is in this. Ilana Glazer, who plays Frankie, she's the activist. Mm-hmm. She is a really funny stand-up. Kate McKinnon, how do you have Kate McKinnon in a movie and not make her funny? I
didn't find her funny, but I liked her. This is the Pippa character from Australia.
Yeah.
I think now I don't know. I feel like I should know the woman who played Alice, and for some reason it's like, is that Kate McKinnon? No,
no, that's Jillian Bell. You've seen her as that girl in That Thing.
Okay.
Yeah, she's sort of not quite on the level with the others in terms of.
Yeah.
Well, no, the thing most people know her from these days is she is the voice of Nat on Bob's Burgers. She's done a lot of TV, and she was also in Bill and Ted Face the Music. She was the psychiatrist. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
A lot of TV work, some voice work.
So, how to start this off?
Yeah. First up, I got to say, they established the characters pretty well right off.
Yeah, but do you remember, this was a thing back in the day, I'm sure you'll,
Yeah.
I just want to remind our listeners about this. Do you remember when you had to be 30 to get into college?
Yeah, there is that. They really make no effort. I think they put Scarlett in pigtails or something, try to change her hair to make her look younger. Yeah,
maybe.
and this is supposed to be they're supposed to be less sophomores, so they're supposed to be 19.
No.
It's just no.
You just not for a second do you think, hey, it's college people. It's like, oh, the faculty is having a party.
Yeah. This was, and the style of this movie, obviously they're trying to cash in on the remarkable success of The Hangover.
Which, I didn't want to see The Hangover. It looked really dumb and crude, and it is. The Weasel, my buddy the Weasel, made me go see it, and I laughed my ass off.
It is crude. It is offensive. It's funny as hell.
Yeah, the first one. I have not seen
the first one. I haven't bothered with the others, but it really, if nothing else, you have friggin' Mike Tyson in it.
With my tiger. My tiger. But this is not that film. Let's be very
really
clear.
Isn't.
This is not that film. My note
It wants to be. What was your note?
Well, my note was basically that this feels like a all-women version of The Hangover, but as conceived by a guy.
Yeah, this very much feels like a guy's idea of what a bachelorette party would be like.
But it wasn't, because the director was a woman who is married to Peter.
Yeah. Kind of see how he got cast.
Yeah, because, okay.
He's fine. I mean, he's just, I've already forgotten who he was.
Well, here's
also point out that while the director was one of the writers, the other writer was a guy named Paul Downs.
Who is Peter.
Peter, yeah.
My first note on Peter is, why is Scarlett's fiancé gay? He reads totally as gay. And he's got a tiny little lisp going on. That may just be the way he talks. I don't know. But I'm sitting there going, why is she marrying this gay guy? I don't understand.
I was curious because one of his friends who looked really upset about him getting married, I thought, is he in love with him?
Well, later on. So they're going off to do the wild and crazy things, the stereotypical guy weekend, get it, wink, wink. And then we see Peter is having a wine tasting with his buddies. And my note for that was, it's Gay Peter's gay support group.
My note was, wow, Peter and his friends may be the dullest people alive.
And it's just, it's you can hear them turning the table. The table is squeaky, it's old, and you can hear them turning it in this film. If the opening of the movie was the preview of this film, I'd have not gone or not watched it. And that's just them in college at a sorority/fraternity party. And here's where we introduce the characters and we see who they are. And what
over a game of beer pong.
Yeah. And
which, now, I have to admit, I have never played beer pong in my life. I don't know how you play beer pong. Have you ever played beer pong?
I watched it once, and I don't know how you do it either. I think what happens is you've got a bunch of cups of beer in front of you across from a table.
People can look up the damn rules. We don't need to know.
Literally, if you get the ball in their cup of beer, they have to drink it.
Right, you have to drink a beer that's had a filthy ping pong ball thrown in it.
Right.
Keeps missing and hitting the floor. But yeah, now this, by the way, I do not want to suggest for a minute that beer pong is not popular or was not popular. Of course it was. I just never got invited to that kind of party.
Only once. The thing I never get invited to, which I thought might be fun, is a vodka slide. Have you ever heard of those?
I've heard of it. I don't know what it is. I think it's like isn't it like an ice sculpture that you pour vodka down into your mouth?
Yep. So at one end, it's at an angle, and at one end they pour the vodka, and there's a little channel cut into the ice. So by the time it gets to you, it's nice and cold. And But of course, then
what we would now call a super spreader event.
Super spreader. Oh, I see. Yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking manure, and it's sort of.
No.
Oh, yes, we should get back to the movie. Oops.
Yes. Yeah. Now, again, one of the major plots is Jess and her friends, two of them, she and Blair are very successful. Frankie is basically a rich suburban kid who's decided she's Norma Ray, or Lady Butterfly. she's an activist. She's into every possible cause, even though she's a bit of a hypocrite on some of it. She's, again, a very cliche. She's the rich liberal white lady.
She's not white.
Partly.
It's suggested at least that she's Hispanic. I don't know her particular background, but that seems to be the suggestion.
Yeah, I forget what Ilana Glazer's background is.
Yeah.
But quite honestly, to me, she just looks like she's New York Jewish.
I mean, that could be, I couldn't tell, but it felt that way. And because there is a dividing line here, which I didn't want to talk about.
Yeah.
One of the other friends is Zoe Kravitz, who I generally really like. Well, I generally really like. I think was wasted in this film, as was just about everybody.
Just about everyone. Yep.
Peter was not wasted.
Peter was not wasted. We'll get to him. He actually gets a lot more fun. He's probably the most fun character.
I'm going to disagree, but
we'll see. We'll get to it. But Alice is that person, and I've known people like this who cannot let go of the type of friendship they had, like in college, because for them that friendship was like the height of their life.
Yeah, and that's why Max really just won't answer the door when I knock. But I
told you, you keep getting the address wrong. It's not my fault. You can't read my handwriting.
You mean that's covered with water and beer and honey and other things?
No, you're supposed to say it's typed.
Oh, sorry.
That's typed. Different. That was high school, but
yeah,
we never went to college together. So
yeah.
But there are people who hang on to that, and
sure,
because Alice, as we find out, didn't have a lot of friends growing up, and Jess, let's face it, if Scarlett Johansson is your friend in college, you would hold on with both hands. I don't care, male or female. It's like, oh my God, this goddess is hanging out with me. One of Peter's friends, at one point, Peter believes through a wacky misunderstanding that Jess doesn't want to marry him anymore.
Yeah.
And as one of his friends says, I mean, we kind of saw it coming. You're a 6, and she's like a 20, and he's not wrong. I mean, Thank God women are not as shallow about appearances. I personally am so grateful for that.
I think that on both sides of the fence, you will find equal amounts of shallowness.
There can be some, but I remember somebody said, I don't remember, it was a great quote, men learn to love the ones they find beautiful, and women learn to find the ones they love beautiful.
I mean, that's a neat saying, but I can still see that it leaves plenty of shallowness for both sides.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's universal.
Yeah.
But
I would just like to interject because the film seems to require that I do this.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yes, I'm sorry. We do, if we're going to really keep the spirit of this, we do have to shout woo pretty much every 45 seconds or so.
Woo!
Woo! Woo! Partay!
Yeah, so the opening scene with the college party is, there is literally nothing new in this.
No, there's nothing new in, I'd say, the first third of the movie.
I'm going to go the entire film. I made 4 predictions in this film. I don't know about you, but if I'm in a movie that I'm either not enjoying or I get bored, I start predicting things. I am not always right. Even though I've seen tons and tons of films, Max has seen tons and tons of films, I'm not always right. In this case, I made 4 predictions. All 4 of them were right. Prediction number 1, Scarlett gets photographed doing her crazy stuff, thinks she's screwed, ends up winning election. Ta-da!
Yeah, got that one.
Prediction 2, stripper, the guy who comes in that accidentally dies, will be a fugitive. Ta-da!
Yeah, I figured he was at least a criminal. Yeah.
Prediction number 3, the 2 cops show up. Prediction, they're not cops. Ta-da!
Yeah.
Spoiler! Prediction, Jess captures the thieves and is a hero. Ta-da! This film has nothing new to say.
I mean, even down to what they call the third act breakup. Where, they start blaming each other and harsh truths come out. And, we finally find out that, Jess is really uncomfortable with Alice's sort of obsessive friendship. And there's a lot of hurtful stuff said. And then everything's fine.
Yeah, I referred to that as the catharsis moment.
Yeah.
And here's the problem with the catharsis moment. As a whole, if you take the opening scene in the frat party and you take the catharsis scene And then you take a scene later when Jess is alone in the bathroom and she's getting herself out of the shower and doing her hair. She finds a card left by Alice.
Yeah.
It basically explains why Alice has been so clingy all these years. These three things actually might make a nice little arc. The problem is the tonal shifts in this movie are many and varied. And so you never know what to feel.
It's very hard to get emotionally invested.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the lines, there were things that made me laugh. I mean, at one point, Alice is upset that Jess puts her hand on her shoulder, leans in and goes, "Would some more cocaine make you feel better?" And she goes, "Yes."
So the drug use in this film, it seems so, it's like people went out and got vodka. Like, is that really, I don't know, but it just seems like we'll just get some Coke. I wouldn't know how to get Coke if you asked me.
The people who know how to get it can get it anywhere. Apparently, I don't know, you can get, and apparently it's also not hard to find meth at a truck stop.
Yeah,
I want to talk about that scene. That scene is so odd and yet strangely adorable.
I guess.
It's kind of cute. I mean, well, we got to get there, but
let's go back for a second, because when they get to Miami.
We're jumping way over the... Yeah, they're in Miami. They're staying in this unbelievably gorgeous beach house.
Well, before they get there, they go somewhere really cool. Did you notice where they went for all their fun that night?
They went to a club.
Yeah. Do you know what it was called?
Oddly enough, I did not notice.
Club.
Oh, okay.
It's literally in neon over the door. It said club. It's like, oh, that's my favorite club too. I love going to club. Like, really, guys?
Yes,
club.
They were going out for something to eat at restaurant.
Probably. Yeah. But yeah, so they are staying at this amazing beach house, which is
amazing beach house. Alice is a little upset because Jess has invited Pippa, who she has never met. None of them have ever met. Jess did a semester abroad in Australia and got to be friends with Pippa.
Well, you also forgot how they had to get the keys to the beach house.
Oh, yes, they were kept by this neighbor couple. The neighbor couple is Ty Burrell and Demi Moore.
Yeah.
Ty Burrell, you might know from Modern Family, a bunch of other stuff.
No, but he reminded me of Hank Azaria, who I could also see of that role if he was a bit younger.
I could have seen him do that part. Yeah, Demi Moore, who is older than we are and still looks pretty damn amazing. And they are this very, let's just say, horny couple, very into, you can tell they're swingers. God knows what kind of apparatus they have in their house that we can't see. And yeah, they've got the key. They come into this later as a plot point.
Sure. They're very creepy and they are very pervy. They fixate on Zoe Kravitz, which I could totally understand. And
I don't see with her, although with her and Scarlett Johansson in the same area, you're kind of spoiled for choice.
Yeah,
but yes, also the house that they're in has a sex swing.
Yeah,
that's purely a sight gag. It's sort of a plot point, not really.
And that's what was
weird. There's a
callback
to it, but
is these people have no trouble finding cocaine, but they don't seem to know what a sex swing is because they're like, is that what I think it is? And it's like,
I've never seen one in real life, but even I knew what it was.
I've seen one in a store. Target was by having a sale. That was
Target?
No.
Yeah, folks, if you're a little public service announcement from Max Mike Movies: don't buy your sex swing at Target. Come on,
get the real leather.
Get something decent. Don't go with pleather. I'm sure it chafes.
It
read it somewhere.
Yeah, and it's a friend. I think it's a friend of Alice's, and
it's her only donor. Yeah,
it's Jess's, and I love her explanation. Oh, somebody else must have rented this and left this here, and then she looks up and she says, "and installed a beam and screwed it to it."
There are some funny lines. Yeah, that was funny.
That was it.
Mm-hmm. But to give you an idea, Alice has a line. It's your bachelorette weekend. I have been waiting for this since freshman year.
Yeah.
That sums up Alice completely.
Yeah.
She's also the one, she and Frankie aren't married. Frankie is openly gay. Blair is probably bisexual. She and Frankie were a couple, then they aren't. And she's also going through a messy divorce. I kind of like how that's signified. She has a kid. They're in a custody fight. The father must be a complete jerk because when she's getting into the car, her driver turns and gives the father the finger.
Yeah. And he
like,
seems like a jerk, but he does.
He only has like one line.
10 seconds. He's barely there.
So I got to say that actor does a good job in putting that across very quickly.
Yeah. The humor in this film, though, is as predictable as the rest of the plot. But there's one point there when they first get to Miami, somebody has a bottle of champagne. They pop the cork. Although if you look at the bottle, it's like, wow, they didn't bother putting foil on the top of the champagne. Whatever.
Yeah.
But they pop it, and everyone, of course, goes, oh, my God, and they duck and they run because they think it's... But they actually explain the joke. They're like, oh, that must be because it sounded like a gunshot. Like, they actually have to tell us, like,
It's like, no, you didn't. You really didn't.
No.
It's 2020. This was 2017. We get the idea of fear in an airport.
Yeah.
Yeah, Again, which, too bad, because that was, could have been worth a smile.
I guess.
Yeah. Then, of course, every bachelorette party cliche you can imagine then occurs. They have the sashes.
Yeah.
They have a great deal of penis-inspired paraphernalia.
Sure.
Right down to, and I don't know if this exists. I'm assuming it does now. Penis-shaped pasta.
Oh, yeah. That's totally a thing. The thing
I love how you knew that right away.
Max, it's in the aisle. Dick pasta. It's right there. Sometimes you can get it with meatballs or,
Okay.
No, there's that, and then there's the glasses with the big rubber penis on the nose, which they later, of course, put on this. So
the little antennas and everything.
They're at club doing the...
doing drug,
having drink. And then they eventually go back to the house because they have the stripper coming, and who should show up but, it's the stripper, who, spoiler, it's not really the stripper.
And quite honestly, admittedly, they're all on coke and weed and God knows what else.
Yeah.
We could tell he wasn't the right person.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't a stripper, dude. You know that, right?
But luckily, he's handsome and really well built, so he could possibly be one.
Yes, and at one point, Alice, getting really a bit into it, jumps on him, knocks him over backwards, and he hits his head on the corner of the fireplace and dies.
Yeah.
By the way, this happens while the Divinals song "I Touch Myself" is playing, because sure, and this is a massive. As Mike mentioned, this is one of those massive mood shifts.
Yeah,
and this can work in some movies. In this, it's just so out of left field. It's jarring.
Yeah, I said it was an instant downer.
Yeah,
it brings the comedy, such as it is, in the movie to a complete halt.
Oh, it's screeching halt.
Yeah.
And even if they're sort of trying to bring it in with the reactions, and it's just like, no, sorry. Death and humor work really well together. There are people who can do this. You can see this in even dopey comedies like Weekend at Bernie's.
Because, of course, we think of that.
Yeah. And then a big chunk of it is, what do we do? We have, the house is all glass. We have to hide the body. And there's this whole thing of them trying to carry him. And then they talk to a lawyer who tells them if there's no body, there's no case.
Yeah.
My first thought, first of all, is, and this is what I was thinking because the movie was not very interesting, they're in Florida. You killed a stripper. I'm not sure that's illegal in Florida.
Oh, the Wild East. Yeah. And the sad thing is that because we literally know nothing about this stripper character, he's an innocent, right? As far as he knows, he's been hired to come do a bachelorette party, and he dies. Because of that, I predicted it's not a stripper, and it's not. But we don't know that. And he has that kind of bad boy look to him, and he's built really well, and he comes out and he starts doing a striptease thing.
Yeah.
Right? So he's
badly.
And you know what? If you're built that well and you can move it all, who cares? Yeah. And if the people, your audience is coked up on drug, then, But he actually dies. Now, if he had just been hurt and they were worried about litigation, I might have not felt the tonal shift so badly. But the guy dies.
Yeah.
And they try to sort of backpedal into wackiness by doing all the things you'd think they would do. Like, we'll move him into this position and look how funny he is sitting in this. Oh, now we'll move him over here.
the fact that, like, Pippa tries to close his eyes and they snap back open.
Yeah. And I got to say, the guy does a pretty good corpse. I didn't see him breathing once. But
that's very hard to do.
Yes.
It's really hard. Also, I would like to point out, closing a dead person's eyes in the movies and TV, they always make it look really simple. It's not.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
I've never had to do that, so apparently it's bad for me to have ever seen a sex swing, but Max has closed the eyes of many, many dead people, so whatever.
Not many. Anyway.
Yeah, so they say things like, get rid of all the drugs. And I, of course, was like, so are these people total drug heads? Or I don't know. It just
we know at one point, and I'm not sure how this worked in the airport, like Jess hugs Frank and goes, wow, you smell really good. And she's got, I've got a lot of weed in my bra.
Yeah, because
you'd be on the ground under 6 sky marshals at that point.
Or the more important part of their team, if I might quote him, bark, bark, bark. Yeah, they call a lawyer, and he's like, oh, you're fine, you're fine. You did that? Oh, you're going to jail. So the tone
as long as you didn't
again.
move the body or mess with the crime scene,
yes,
that's accessory after the fact. I don't know if that's true. Any lawyers out there? But
yeah.
Then that's like then basically he says, he doesn't come out and say it, but he tells them, get rid of the body.
Yeah.
And what do? They get on a jet ski and they dump him about 40 feet off from shore because apparently none of them know how waves work.
Yeah, they supposedly put rocks in his pockets.
And then his pants came off.
He washes up on shore as we knew he was going to without his pants on. And that part I did find was kind of funny. They put rocks in his pockets, and it's like, no, that only works for Virginia Woolf. Everyone knows that. Yeah, and she didn't have a jet ski. Maybe if she did. Wacky, zany hijinks.
Yeah. Wow. Then, of course, that they have to bring back in the sex couple next door because they seem to have a video camera, and so they send Zoe Kravitz over to seduce them, and which is not exactly much work for her to get access to the camera, and they end up, basically Demi Moore performs oral favors on her.
Sex.
Yes. And turns out the video camera isn't hooked up to anything.
Yeah, it's just there for show.
Which I saw coming.
Yeah.
I thought,
Well, either that or it suddenly becomes a Tom Cruise movie, right? Because she has to go in. And I was sitting there going, wait, why aren't they getting the tape while she's on the beach? And it turns out the plan is, she's going to have the sex and then get the tape as it's her kink, blah, blah, blah.
So she in effect has had sex with these 2 strangers, and it's just sort of laughed off.
Well, and the sad thing is when she talks about it later, she says it was actually amazing because
she was really into it.
She was in me, I was in her, she was in me, and then it's just
she was me.
She was, and it seemed to be really good. And here's the thing, the scene itself was just creepy and unnecessary. It felt like it was what it was Chekhov's gun, right? We see the creepy sex couple next door, so somebody's going to have to shoot the gun because that's the way it goes. If you don't know that term, just look it up. But they do it because gratuitous sex scene. And the sad thing is it seems to actually have affected her in a really interesting way.
Very profound. And again, it's a nice one this is a nice reversal. It's usually guys.
Yeah.
Like, and if it's a guy, it's always played off as, I had to have sex. Oh, darn. And this is the same thing. It's like, I had to have sex. It was a little weird, but boy, I was kind of into it.
And here's the thing. One of the reasons it felt so much like a guy came up with this is all of the sex in this film is lesbian based. Now, the guy of the sex couple is there, but he's sort of not doing anything. It's all
he's more of a prop. Yeah.
And then we have a couple of scenes of kissing between Zoe Kravitz and, I'm sorry, I've forgotten her name.
Ilana Glazer.
Yeah. That's it. There's actually literally no other type of sex going on in this film.
There's a lot of sex talked about and a lot of sex described, but
strangely not in the gay support group. But they just have this plan because, of course, now we can get to this part you wanted to get to. Peter is talking to Jess right at the point where they've killed, or I'm sorry, he's accidentally died. These strippers died, and she's going crazy. And Alice pulls her phone out of her hand and throws it on the floor and stomps on it until it's dead because she doesn't want anything talked about. And of course, he thinks that she doesn't want to get married anymore. All she says is, "We had a stripper, and do you want to get married?" And then she screams no when Alice takes her phone, and that's the last thing he hears.
And he's convinced that like every other girl before, she's broken up with him.
Not a big surprise.
because she suddenly realized, she's Scarlett Johansson. He's
Peter.
We don't know. Yeah, he's Peter. But his friends convince him, and one of them particularly cites, you have to go sad astronaut. Now, you remember that little peccadillo a few years ago where the story he tells is accurate. It's a real thing. A woman at NASA fell in love with another NASA scientist and ended up driving across the country wearing adult diapers so she wouldn't have to stop to go and kidnap and or murder his girlfriend's or wife. It's a really dark and disturbing story, and again, played off, as he says, the story takes kind of a dark turn. So they go out and they get him some adult diapers with a very helpful store clerk, I have to say.
Yeah.
Now, that part, I'm sorry, that was funny, because they're doing the sort of bro music in the slow motion.
It was hard rap.
Yeah.
And I did not find... I had actually a note. I said, wow, adult diaper joke mixed with hard rap. Hilarious. But
I thought that was kind of funny, because it's playing off of it should be they're arming themselves or getting ready to go on a run, and they're buying Depends or what have you. Yeah, and that's what he gives him a bunch of expired Russian Adderall.
Yeah.
Which is basically some form of speed in this.
I guess.
And yeah, he drives from... Actually, where are they?
I think they're in Charleston. I think they say Charleston at one point, down to Miami.
So driving from Charleston, down to Miami in one night, and he gets stopped. For some reason, he doesn't occur to him to put his pants on over the adult diaper, so he spends most of the movie in a diaper. Because funny?
It's funny.
And he gets...
It's been a while. Woo!
Oh, yeah. Woo! There, thank goodness.
Almost forgot.
He gets stopped by the cops, and that's a scene that happens. And
did you think the cop was about to kiss him? Because I swear there was little sparks going back and forth between them for reasons.
I didn't see that, but now that you mention
it... was just weird.
Yeah.
Because the guy seemed first the cop pulls a gun.
Yeah, he's ready to shoot him.
Well, he sees the boxes of the diapers, and that's what sets the car. Oh, my God, something's going on. Diapers. And he's like, get out of the car, get out of the car. And then Peter does this, the backwards with the touching the nose and all the alphabet.
Except he's not just walking the line. He recites the alphabet backwards. He does a forward flip, a back flip. The guy said, I just needed you to walk a straight line.
Yeah.
That should have been funny, and it kind of wasn't.
Well,
and he ends up going to a gas station. He tries to pay with his credit card, but his hands are shaking so much from the drugs that he ends up with his card declined and inactivated. So he's trying to get money by washing people's windshields.
Yeah.
And a very nice truck driver wants to know if he will have sex with him for $15 or if he wants to buy any meth.
Yeah.
And I have to say, he is the most accommodating meth dealer I've ever heard of.
Yeah. Well,
he's very okay, sure. He says no. Then another guy solicits him for sex, and he very kindly introduces him to the truck driver.
Yeah, after having ripped him off for the meth, but that's okay.
Yeah,
because he buys meth from the truck driver for $40 and sells it for $80 to the guy who wants to have.
And because the truck driver wants him to prove that he's not a cop, which, by the way, this doesn't work. He makes him do. He says, "You got to do a little meth." Police are trained to simulate use. They can do it without. There are ways of doing it. I don't know how, but they can. I don't even
know what meth does, so whatever.
I don't know. It makes your teeth fall out.
I know it does the drug. That's what it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then, so my thought though was, okay, the adult diapers. See, because adult diapers are funny, but he has to stop for gas anyway. So why not just go to the bathroom?
Why couldn't he just use the bathroom then?
Don't bring yourself a 6-pack of energy drinks. Hello.
Yeah.
And just stop for the bathroom when you have to get gas. I just it was just so dumb. I just didn't see any point in that. And but it does bring back both wacky and hijinks. So I suppose that's...
Yeah.
And of course it will provide us with an ending to the...
Yes, and then of course there's... once they think that they've dumped the body... and everything's fine, they sort of relax. They take a picture they call the human friendipede, which,
see last week's poll question.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so what happens is eventually a stripper shows up. That's how we find out that that guy wasn't the
real stripper.
And as soon as he shows up, I'm like, okay, he's the stripper. Like I didn't even bother writing that down as a prediction because it was pretty obvious. And they knock him out accidentally too. And then they're like, what do we do? And then the cops show up, quote unquote. But of course, they're the roughest looking cops you've ever seen.
They are the most sketchy looking police officers.
Yeah. And it turns out that there was a jewelry heist. And $2 million in diamonds were stolen, and the young, good-looking one is the one that was mistaken for the stripper in the earlier part of the film. And these are his buddies. He
double-crossed the others, so they're like, okay, hand over the diamonds. We don't know, where are they?
Yeah, then the tone shifts again because now
now it's a caper film, and now there's actually both sort of slapstick fighting, but also their lives are actually in danger. And,
But, as was predicted, and I'm sure, Max, you probably saw it coming to the happy ending. It's like, legally, they've kind of just basically. So what ends up happening is Peter shows up in the car, in the diaper, drives through the front of the house for no particularly good reason, except, I guess,
he's on meth.
And Adderall. And luckily, the bad guy with the gun happens to be standing in front of the door, so he gets hit with the car or whatever.
Yeah.
That saves the day. And Jess is like, no, of course I still want to marry. Let's get married this weekend in Miami all together. All our friends are here except for the gay support group, but whatever. They show up later.
Well, no, they show up. And,
and
of course, Pippa is an internet minister and can marry them. And
which, now to be fair, that part I believe.
I completely believe that. I also... I like the line, apparently we committed what is known in Florida as a good murder. That was funny.
Only because it's true.
And I kind of like, Jess has this campaign manager who clearly has a whole backstory that we have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
But he's on the phone. She's like, I'm going to get married. You were actually getting married? Jess, I'm in love with you. Click.
Yeah.
All right, that was like it was from another movie. Okay.
And he's telling her why in the beginning of the film, why she's not going to win the election. And she's saying things like, look, he tweeted a dick pic. And it's like, well, yeah, but he apologized. Yeah, he apologized and sent another dick pic.
Yeah, apparently those are actually now political indicators.
Well, it's an indication of something. And it's... fine. I mean, it sets up the prediction that she's seen as sort of a tight person, like doesn't know how to have fun, and that's why her constituents don't like her. Yeah. And of course, now that she's this hero and she's saved the world from fake strippers. Yeah. Now, I'm going to vote for. She saved the world. She saved Florida from fake strippers. I'm voting for her.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. She looks way too young to be elected to state senate.
And we all learn the valuable lesson of friendship.
Blair and Frankie end up back together.
Which is fine, because they actually make a cute couple.
They are really adorable together.
I like their chemistry.
And Alice ends up with the stripper.
With a giant knob on his head. But
yes.
Yeah, the real stripper, not the dead one.
Yep. Then there's a mid-credits scene where we see that Jess won her election and Pippa wrote a song about the murder.
And I have to say, I did think the song was really funny because it's literally just, sometimes you kill a stripper, sometimes you have to get rid of the body.
I will bet you that Kate McKinnon improv that whole song.
That part was funny. I will say that was funny.
Yeah. And then the end credits scene, we find out what happened to the diamonds. Apparently, they were hidden. The guy hid them in a box of penis pasta.
Yeah.
That Jess has, and it looks like
Alice
has, and it looks like Alice is about to eat them. I don't know.
Yeah. Which I don't know about you, but I had not only A, forgotten about the diamonds, but B, didn't care about them in the first place.
Yep.
But whatever. I went through all. I did have one more note, and and the princess married the handsome prince and lived happily ever after. And you get a date, and you get a date, and you get a date.
Everything is very neatly wrapped up at the end
in penis pasta.
Yes.
But do you want to get to the finality of this?
Let's get to the finality.
The finish.
So
Mike.
I'm going to roll a D20. Odds or evens?
Evens.
Aha, odds. So Max.
Yeah.
I rolled a 15 just for those who you could hear the 15, I'm sure. Now you saw this when it came out, didn't you?
I did not, in fact.
Really? When was the first time you watched this?
Last night.
All right. Had you before we thought of doing
I
this?
had heard of it. I remember seeing the previews because, quite honestly, any movie that stars Scarlett Johansson, I'm interested in.
Mean Two Moons?
Because she usually is in a lot of really interesting stuff. I mean,
Yeah. Like the
and
Avengers.
I was like, oh, this looks like it could be funny. It's like, okay, like a gender swap on the gross out road trip party comedy. And every review I heard was like, no, it's not worth it. It is a huge waste of an immensely talented cast. And having seen it, yeah, it is. It just throws away not just her, but I don't think there are a lot of bad performances in this. Everyone is trying. Everyone is doing their best. Kate McKinnon can be hilarious, and they give her nothing.
Not much.
Nothing.
So
And
your final wrap up then would be yes.
don't. Just don't.
What if you're on drug?
If you're on drug and you've been out at club, then still no. Go watch The Hangover. You want to watch one with a female cast? Watch Bridesmaids. That's a lot of gross out humor, but that one's funny and touching. What about you? Yeah, I know you, but you saw it like 4 or 5 times when it came out in the theater, right?
No.
Didn't you go to the
and
midnight show on the Thursday night it was released? Or?
Yeah, I went dressed as Rocky.
Yeah.
It didn't seem to work for some reason. I don't know why.
Huh.
This is terrible.
Yeah.
It is not only predictable, but it's obviously trying to be the female version of, which it doesn't need to do. And the part, just like Max said, the part that's really annoying is the characters themselves I actually like.
Yeah.
The performances, the 4 main women in this film, and Demi Moore and Creepy Husband. I don't care about Creepy Husband, but I actually think there's a story here. Now, a lot of what we see is exactly what you'd expect, which is too bad, but I like Pippa, and I feel bad for her, because she and Jess were obviously got really close that one semester, have kept in touch, and I think Pippa's actually a pretty cool woman. I'd hang out with her. She seems like fun.
But Alice is jealous. She doesn't like any of the diversion of the attention.
Right, and we get why.
We understand why, but she tries to minimize Pippa as much as possible.
Yeah, and of course that limits the part for McKinnon to do,
Yeah.
so I like the chemistry between Frankie and, I'm sorry, what's Zoe Kravitz' character's name? Blair. Zoe and Blair. We don't know a whole lot about them because, they're off to the side, unfortunately, so we can hear more from the white women. Oh, did I say that? Sorry, I didn't. Yes, I did totally mean to say that. And I think everyone's giving it their all. I also have to sit there watching, why is Scarlett Johansson slumming and doing this film?
I don't know. Maybe she owed someone a favor, or she's friends with one of the people involved. I don't know why, because this is not her usual kind of movie. Maybe she wanted to stretch. Maybe she wanted to try something a little different.
Yeah.
She's people often think she's just too serious. She doesn't do a lot of comedy.
No, and the thing is, she's actually pretty good at it. That's
She
the
is.
thing.
That's the sad part. Her delivery's really good. Her timing is excellent. Some of this movie technically is done fairly well. The pacing is okay. It's not great, but it's okay. The way it's shot is interesting. The cinematography is, keeps your interest. It's the script. It's just the dialogue doesn't make good enough use of the people that they've got.
The tonal shifts are horrible.
The tonal shifts don't work, and they could have because other people have done it, but they just don't.
I mean, think of it this. I literally just thought of this. What if the fake stripper shows up, they do the scene, he gets knocked out, like they're worried
Even
about
if
his
he's
health.
comatose,
And then they see in the background the report about the jewel.
Yeah.
And then the cops and they're trying to get away from the, Guido the killer pimp the whole film. That might actually have worked.
That could have worked.
And it wouldn't have had those weird tonal shifts with an actual dead guy, because we spend a good deal of time looking at a corpse.
There were a number of ways either that or they could have leaned into it completely. Like we could have seen them trying to dismember him, or total gross out dark black humor.
Yeah, I don't know if that would have necessarily worked, but
it would have worked better. This is it's not. You say it's bad. It's not bad. It's worse. It's boring. It's bland.
Well,
it's a cookie cutter.
It's predictable.
It's predictable, and that's really bad.
I mean, all 4 of those predictions were right, and I'm not that good at it.
Yeah.
And, again, I think that all of the actors, the main actors in this, the gay support group, I don't even understand that.
The wine club, you mean?
Because it's men, but see, men can be gay, I guess. I don't know. Or like wine. It's instead of the women liking the wine, because funny. I swear every 24 frames, there was a subliminal frame thrown in that said laughs with LAFFS, laughs.
There's a certain amount of. I would have, if I had seen this in the theater, I would have expected Rip Taylor to be running through the aisles with a bag of confetti or glitter, screaming, "It's funny!"
And there's your corpse.
Yeah.
A waste of some very good talent, and I'm glad to know that most of these people will do better things. Want to recap that poll question for our listeners next?
Poll question for next week. Who would you choose to play you in your own biopic? It has to be an actor, but any actor, living or dead, at any point in their career.
Scarlett Johansson. Come on, Two Moons, you can do it. It's a stretch, but...
Now, to be fair, Scarlett Johansson is talented enough that she could play you, I think.
Well, remember the problem we had last week where she's 5'3" and I'm 6'2".
Yeah, that is. Oh, she could do it.
Scarlett Johansson and an all little people cast.
Nope. She'd just stand. She'd be on a box the whole time, and everyone else would be in a trench.
Yeah, Scarlett of the Antarctic.
There you go.
But poll question. Sorry,
yes.
You did that. So how can people give us the answer though? That's what we.
Well, through our top secret, super fudgy secret club secret way.
Max is on the drug.
Which we've. Well, I'm trying. I'm in a hurry. I got to get out to go to club. You can, of course, visit us at our website, maxmikemovies.com, and leave a comment. You can, as only Dr. Lauren did, send us an email to us at maxmikemovies.com. You can also find us on the socially mediateds, on the Facebooker and the Tweeter.
While you're on
under
the drug.
Max Mike Movies. Yep. Yes, you can. And next week,
we are going to continuing.
Yes, we are continuing and closing out our Scarlett Johansson journey with a Luc Besson movie she was in.
Oh, I love Luc Besson with a little bit of chicken and a little rice.
It's very nice, very nice.
Or wait, does he do hair care products?
Have I mentioned I was French? I'm Frenchy.
Gotta go.
Yep.
Sorry, French
it's called
people.
Lucy. And it is, of course, the story of behind the woman who keeps yanking the football away from Charlie Brown when he tries to kick it.
Oh, Charlie, it's never funny.
Lucy.
And don't forget, woo!
Woo!
This has been a co-production of The Voice of Max and The Movie Wrench.